Hi, good evening, everybody. Hi, this is Pastor David again for your regular session of Easy Dharma for Difficult Times. And today I'll be talking about relationships in these difficult times. So, what happens is while I wait for more people or any people, anybody to come on, um, we'll just, have, I know. Just a recap of my last talk was actually about boredom and the psychology of boredom and why we get bored and according to the Dharma, which is because we are attached to distractions. We attach to distractions are basically various forms of attachments. So usually what happens is when we are attached to various forms, so that's why when we don't have our attachments, that's why it is an attachment in the first place, because what is an attachment is not just things that we like or situations, people, or circumstances or objects that we like. Attachments is actually any of these that we see that the object, the situation, or the person with its good qualities magnified, exaggerated. When it's magnified, all we see is the good things. So we are so mesmerized by it. So we want it and we like it. We want more of it. And we don't have it, we suffer. So that was what, there's more, but that's in gist. That was what. Hi, Yin Ping. Yingping and Sharon, hi. We are going to talk about relationships today, just to let you know. And so before we actually go into it, and while waiting for more people to come on board, I hope more people will come on board to listen to to this sharing about relationships. I thought I was inspired actually. I thought that because I heard that in China, as the COVID virus thing was in decline, a lot of people filed for divorce, and immediately people are saying that it's because during the lockdown in China, so everybody was stuck indoors, and they couldn't go anywhere and they couldn't do anything outside of the premises, their homes. So that added pressure of being in the same place caused a lot of breakdowns in people's relationships. Of course, the relationship we're going to talk about today is not just intimate husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend relationships. It could be, in the confines of a family, between parents and hello, hi, Mr. Lam. Hi, nice to see you. Good evening to you. It's not just the confines of just in relationships, intimate relationship. It could be parent, children. It could be between family members, siblings. So the dynamics are pretty much the same because we're going to go about it according to the Dharma. So anyway, I see some more people coming on. That's nice. So what happened is, I know. I've cut my hair. Some people will be surprised. Maybe not if you didn't see my last session on Saturday. Yeah. Hi, JC Go. Hello, good evening. Welcome to my session of what's it called? Easy Dharma for Difficult Times. And it's going to be about relationships. Actually, I don't feel qualified to. I'm not a expert on relationships. I'm not trained in any way, and I know some of you say, but you have a book that on relationships. Yes, but that was based on Buddhist teachings. So we will be going a little bit on the Buddhist teaching. So, but the topic what do you call it? The scope of what we're going to talk about today, this evening, will be within the confines of spirituality in Buddhism, and not anything more. We won't be talking about abusive relationships or because that will be a little bit beyond my expertise. Okay, so what happens is just imagine. I'm sure I don't think you have to imagine. You're already in. All of you are at home, stuck, or even within your homes, and it'll be made more difficult if it's a small apartment. Hello, is that Gimli? Pastor Gimli, is it? Yeah, Pastor Gimli. Hello, Tata, Ong, and Ong. Hi, welcome. So a lot of us are staying at home 24 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, and so already people are expressing boredom, which I covered the last talk, and also I'm sure a lot of us are frustrated with each other. Hello, hi Patrick, hi, welcome. What's this? Employee relationship is covered in your Dharma sharing tonight, Mr. Lam. Employee. Any type of relationship what I'm going to talk about, what I have in mind, can be used for any relationship. But of course, in the employee, it's a little bit different depending on the confines of your office, and I'm not so sure, but in general, all types of relationships. So not just intimate relationships, but I would do cover a little bit because I think that's what most people have at the moment will be most stressed out about, because husband and wives, the husband's just sitting there doing nothing, loafing around, and wife is like cleaning up and cooking, like, I'm just giving an example, okay? So I'm not saying that, hello, hi Elsie. Oh, nice to have you join us from Singapore. Hi, Wei Ting. Good evening. So what I'm going to cover about is within this any type of relationships, okay? So as we all know, all of us are stuck, and the pressure comes about is because actually when out of this out of this COVID thing, out of this lockdown and all that. Hi, Shelley. Out of all this, what happened is we're very used to doing things our way and by ourselves usually. And what happened is sometimes our partners come in and we have our space, that our partner has a space, our family member have their own space, and now all our spaces are crowded within at the same time, 24 hours. This is like Big Brother. I don't know whether any of you know about this program, Big Brother, where a bunch of people are put in a house and they stay basically like a lockdown, and there's a CCTV watching their every move, and a whole TV program. It's a reality series program, and it's very popular overseas, but not so in I don't know about other countries, but Malaysia, I didn't hear of it, any of it. So what happened is since all this pressure, it's basically a conflict. Sometimes conflict arises because we're so used to having our space, and we're not comfortable even when our loved ones intrude on it. Maybe for 1 day, 2 days, it's fine. We tolerate it, but after being 24 hours, we find it a challenge, and that's where the Dharma comes in very, very strongly. Spirituality, the Dharma, when comes in at this point. And if you have practiced the Dharma, or you have learned the Dharma enough, you'll be able to put it into practice and not let your emotions take hold, and then you let your frustrations out, and then conflicts escalate, and then eventually break down in a relationship. So what happens is, before you reach the point of breakdown, this is where you practice the Dharma. Okay, so what kind of Dharma are you going to practice? This is going to be interesting. What kind of practice? What are you going to do in times in moments like these? Is that we have what we can do is at times of conflict. What we can do is sit down, do your meditations if you want, like the one that JP recommends, the breathing meditation. First of all is that you have to be in control. The very fact that we are bored, the very fact that we are angry, means that we do not have full control. And worst of all, if we are unable to control our temper. When we get angry and it's uncontrollable, shows how little control we have on our emotions, and that's a very bad sign. And it's a bad sign because when we cannot control our negative emotions, right, it shows that we have been allowing it to take free reign of us. And we have already done a lot of damage inadvertently because we just can't control it. And why we cannot control our emotions is interesting. Is when anger is because we have not taken responsibility. Many times, breakdown in relationships or of people. Yes, the person is nagging, and we don't like the other party nagging us. But look, what did you do to create that that situation where the other person have to nag you? So it's always both sides. We have to look. We tend to. It's very easy for us to just point the blame at someone else, but most of the time we are at cause too. And yeah, there are situations where sometimes some things are out of control, but that's where we are still in control of our own emotions. Oh, hi Jeevan, nice, long time no see. How are you? Good to see you here. I know you may not recognize me now because of my hair, but anyway, good to see you. Welcome to our Easy Dhamma for Difficult Times. So if you have any questions, please feel free. If you have any questions about what I'm saying or about relationships, issues in relationships, you don't need to, I know some of you, you don't feel comfortable talking about your personal. You can make it general, or you can talk about some what you see in other people without naming names, or even if you have something in mind, an advice about dealing with conflicts and problems and difficulties. So right now, I'm going about taking responsibility of our actions first. Okay, first and foremost, most conflicts come actually from us, not from the person who pinpoint or shout at us or nag us. It's actually what we did to cause it. And in most cases, it starts that way. Maybe not all the time, but most cases. So if we examine the situation and we do find that we're at fault, we have to do something to rectify it. Not staying quiet, hoping that it is swept under the carpet. That's the worst thing one can do in a situation where a conflict or a difficulty has arisen in one's relationship. It doesn't have to be an intimate relationship with your spouse or your children or whatever. It can be any relationship. When there's a conflict, when there's a problem has arisen, right, do not sweep things under the carpet. What I mean by that is you don't just keep quiet and pretend everything is normal. If you find that one is at fault, we have to own up. We have to apologize, make up. If it's necessary, make up. And if you feel it is, actually, I don't think it's just feel. When you have hurt someone, when you made someone angry or pissed off, it will be good to make up. And it begins with an apology, a sincere apology. Sometimes, after an argument, both parties are not happy. So what we do is, this is from experience. I'm sure everybody has this experience, okay? It's not just me. Where both parties are not happy. And then, although you are at fault, sometimes you need time to calm down, then you go and apologize. Do not, at a point of temper, shout back an apology. I've come across a situation like that before, okay? It does not help when your tone of voice is angry and you, sorry lah, it does not help the situation because it just makes it worse. Trust me on this one because I've experienced that before. So it's very not nice when when you are trying you're trying to resolve a situation, and then this person shouts back an apology, and what's the point? Don't shout, just go and keep quiet first, go calm down, and then come back to me. If you think you are at fault, calm down and say it sincerely. The tone of voice in this instance, an apology, the tone of voice is very important. Very important. But then again, in other instances, when people are nagging you, someone is nagging you, your husband, your wife, your parent, your ama, your whoever senior in your house is nagging you about something, and saying it in a very bitchy manner because you've done it over and over again, and you've been doing it for years. Some of us, we're doing for years and years and years, and of course they would. Of course, at that point, don't be careful of the tone of voice as the person will nag. Try not to be bitchy, but for the person who is listening to it, on the receiving end of it, listen to the message. This is my advice. Listen to the message, not the tone of voice. It's difficult. It's always difficult, especially if you've been nagged over and over again, and the person has escalated the tone to a few notches, where it's bitchy, whatever it is. So anyway, I'm just giving you scenarios right now regarding, I haven't gone into the actual Buddhist part, the part on the teachings on how to handle a situation, a conflict, and break down relationships. Rinpoche has given excellent advice. I think all of it is actually, it's actually an advice given to a married couple, a couple who just got married. And I thought it was beautiful and wonderful because I think a lot of it can be applied to any relationships. Let's not put it in confines of just intimate relationships. Okay, I see Chung. Hi, Chung. Why did I suddenly think of a Japanese cartoon character? Okay, that's your comment, okay. So, are you talking? I look like a cartoon character, is it? So anyway, with regards going back to the subject, with regards to relationships, with regards to conflict, it's better to listen to the message always. Try not to focus on the tone. And if you've given an apology, if you're apologizing for a problem or a mistake, watch your tone of voice. If you are angry, please calm down first. Don't shout back an apology or give a very sarcastic apology to someone, because you have to be sincere. Do not apologize at all if you do not feel like it. Calm down first, because for most situations, sometimes in the heat of an argument, we can control ourselves. So you just have to be aware, and it takes practice, and that's why it's very important to have control and to self-reflect. At any moment, especially in times of conflict, we are very easy to be taken away by emotion and just scold. We retaliate immediately. Sometimes without thinking. Not good at all, because most of the time we say things we don't mean. So okay, so what happened is in terms, first watch out the tone of voice. And I had another thing in mind. When you want to apologize, this point came to me just now. Give me a moment. Sorry. Carry on if you have any questions. I have one point, very important point came to me just now. Never mind. Let's just carry on. So what happened is Oh dear. Are you talking about the Doraemon thing? Okay, we're not going to cover that at the moment. We're going to cover real stuff, okay? We're going to cover real issues and how to handle it. So I recommend actually doing, if we cannot control our emotions, we have to go to the root of it, the source of it. For some people who are, angry, irritable, we're prone to losing our temper. We're prone to retaliating with our mouth, saying things that are bitchy in retaliation for people nagging us about something. And then we have to self-reflect. Most of the time, it may not be the person. Most of the time, it's us. It's our issues that's unresolved, our anger. Okay, so we have to look at ourselves and try to find ways to break through, because breakthrough in a sense of having some sort of control when in times of conflict and seeing the other person's perspective. All the time in times of conflict, we're always thinking like this. Why does the other person doesn't think about me or how I feel or what's going on with me of this situation right now? What about me, myself, and I? 3 people in one. Unless you ate a whole fridge, you cannot fit 3 people in your body. Okay? Can you see 3 Pastor Davids here? No? Just kidding. So anyway, so it's very important to realize that in a relationship, it's actually good practice for everybody in dealing with conflict, in dealing with difficulties, in dealing with people, right? We have to learn to be less selfish. If I'm going to tell you, be selfless at this point, not possible. I tell you why is it not possible? Because the very fact you are in conflict means you are selfish. Think about that. The very fact that you are not happy with what the person said to you means you are selfish. Quite deep sometimes, most of the time we don't really realize it because we are thinking about me, myself, and I. And when we let it get effect, let the words, the tone of voice, the situation, the repetition of it, sometimes the sheer repetition affect us. I'm guilty of this many times. I see some smiley emoticons. I guess some people relate to what I'm saying. Get to us. Shows that we are thinking about ourselves. It's me, myself, and I. We are selfish. And you may not like that term, but that's the truth. So in dealing with relationships, we have to step out of ourselves. Understand the person. That's my point. We have to understand the other person, where they're coming at. It's very important that it's not just about you, it's also about the person. Because sometimes when people nag, they are going through difficulties as well. Perhaps they're hurting from it. Sometimes they hide it, they just nag. But some people, when they're hurt, they're disappointed, they do that. Or, sometimes they snap back. It's a reaction of someone who's hurt. So when you think about it that way, then, it helps. So anyway, in all relationships, right? Hi Grace. Hi, welcome. Actually, there's a very long comment. Let me see if I can see it here. I think it's a comment. I missed it. It just flipped up. And I see a C more there. Oh, is it? Damn it. Just give me a moment. I'm going to look at your comment waiting and I'm going to read it because I think it is interesting. I like to hear feedback, so it helps me carry on with this this talk and to give it more substance. And I like feedback. Thank you very much. Please feedback more to me. Waiting says, very true. When stay together and cannot go out at all, lots of things may happen and getting more fireworks. Good to just breathe in and out of a few times to calm down before talking again. JB's morning meditation is good to tune us tune us for more grounded and peace for the day. Thank you very much. That's good. That's good. Daily meditation is good. Self-reflection is good. Some people do. I think it was Pastor Neral was talking about yesterday about self-reflection, about a situation in a day that you were carried away by your emotions, right? So what happened was that's good as well. You can combine it both actually, and I think it's good to also. You see, over time, any relationship, any marriage, any relationship tends to go down a little bit because of conflict. So what happened is, how do you maintain any relationship, friendship, intimate relationship? It doesn't have to be just intimate relationship, although it sounds like it the way I phrase it, but it's any form of relationship. How do you, in the Buddhist way, how do you focus, or rather, how do you improve the relationship? Is that you remember, you recall their good qualities. You see, when we are not happy with someone, all we are focusing on is what they did to us, how they are like this, why they are, it's always, they're so bad, they're so bad, they're so bad, they're so bad. And we've very conveniently forgot the good things they have done before, or their good qualities, I know some of you thinking, oh, but this person has no good qualities. How? Dig deeper. Everybody has good qualities. Everybody has good qualities. Really, everybody. Nobody cannot be, no single person can. Rinpoche has given a teaching about this. Everybody has a Buddha potential inside of them. Everybody has someone they love and care about. That's a good quality. So, is to focus on that. And actually, this contemplation is very, very important, especially in the development of equanimity. Equanimity is a state of mind where tangyam, how do you call it? Stable, even ground. Meaning you have no attachment for this person, nor do you feel repulse. That means you don't hate or love this person, so it's even ground. So that's not possible for anybody right now, but there is contemplations, there's meditations that you can do, contemplations that you can do to develop that. So in handling conflicts, of course, we are handling on the side of when we see only negative qualities. So when we find difficult in a relationship, you recall. If it's an intimate relationship like a husband, a wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, remember when you first met this person and you were so in love because this person is so kind, this person is so generous, this person is so sweet, this person is so, I don't know, good looking is a good quality, but but anyway, so when we first fell in love with this person, we recognized the good quality. We had conveniently forgot that. Okay, that's not the right word. We had forgotten about it because of the emotion of that moment of conflict. So at this time, it is good to recall. And I remember Rinpoche has given advice to some couples before, and who were like back and forth. So Rinpoche said, hold on, sit and don't talk. Write down 10 qualities you like about this person, and then the other person have to write 10 qualities they like about each other, and then they have to sit down, force themselves in the moment of conflict to write something they love about this person, they care about this person, and they write down, and then they recited each other, and amazingly, it helped for that moment lah. But you see, if you focus on it, each time there's conflict and you feel like difficulty in this relationship, this marriage, you recall. And also, of course, it doesn't have to be within the confines of just an intimate relationship. It can be expanded to any type of relationship. That you see, when we don't like someone, when we have difficulty with someone, it's very important that we have to be fair. because we cannot just keep. This is Rinpoche. I've noticed this about Rinpoche. Some people find that that Rinpoche sometimes he does talk to us about certain people and their bad qualities and all, but Rinpoche always ends it with, oh, but this person is also good about this. This person also is good with that. He will always recall the good qualities. So this is what we have to do. When we are in a fit of emotion, recall these qualities. Not easy. Sometimes you may need to, go into your room, perhaps do what Rinpoche has recommended, write 10 things that you like about this person, and then recite it to yourself. And force yourself to remember it, to contemplate it. When you focus more on it, you find your anger will lessen. With anybody, doesn't have to be just husband, wife, and all that. Okay, I see Mr. Lam has a comment. I think to manage our relationships on harmonious with everyone, we have to prioritize spending time with positive people and spend less time with negative people. In unavoidable situations, perhaps we just have to focus on the good qualities of the negative person, empathize the other person, and put ourselves in their shoes. This will lessen our anger and reduce our emotional uprising. Yeah, that's true. That's actually exactly what I was trying to say, but in a more, concise manner. So what happened is, yes, Mr. Lam, you're correct. It is good to focus on. It is good to focus on the good qualities. Most of the time, you see, why I want to focus on this difficult time is because we are in this situation where we cannot, it's our husband or wife. You don't tell me you're going to look for. No, that's not recommended. So what happened is, during this time, everybody will go through a period where even if you really, really care, love this person and all, the pressure of being together, the pressure of, you don't have much personal space, the pressure of, you can't go out, you're bored to death, you can't eat your favorite foods, you can't hang out, you can't go out and enjoy your distractions. So you're stuck. So during that time, it's very important that you have to, to focus on the good qualities. To lessen, focus on the good qualities, because sometimes when after a while we just think about all this negative quality and it just works us up to a frenzy of emotion, and that's why we lash out. So Chung says, does practicing equanimity means being numb, being indifferent? No. Actually, practicing equanimity is just one step towards developing compassion. Okay, before you can develop great compassion, bodhicitta, you have to develop equanimity first. It's not being numb. It is seeing people, situations, and objects for what they really are. So you have to see both the good qualities and the bad qualities. Okay, they're depending on, because if it's people, there are three types of people. You have people you are attached to, your loved ones. You have people you don't like. You can't stand to be in the same room with, or you are, you just feel repulsed, to be honest. And then there's the third one, which is you have no feelings whatsoever, strangers. So you have to equalize all three. So there are certain meditations that you do. I won't go into it because they are quite extensive, depending on each of these three. It's not covered on this topic right now. So what I'm covering right now is people we are attached to, and we are having difficulty because of the added pressure of being together in a single space. So equanimity is not being numb. Equanimity is you see all beings, everyone, people you like, you don't like, as equal. You care about, and you don't have particular attachment for, meaning you emphasize on the good qualities. People we're attached to, we tend to do that. Or no, do you feel like you don't like this person, you hate this person? When you see this person, it makes your blood, curdle. No, blood doesn't curdle, but as in, it makes your skin crawl, kind of thing. So I think you guys you get the picture already, okay? So what happened is, I think that part of developing equanimity is very helpful, and that's where I think the source of what Rinpoche's advice for the married couple is to think of their good qualities and to focus to remember it, and that will help you through difficulties. And conflicts cannot be swept under the carpet. Actually, Rinpoche said this in his advice, is that when you have a conflict, do not sleep over it. Try to resolve it then that night itself. Okay? Or I think don't just what my experience is, my limited experience is that when there's conflict, don't sweep it under the carpet and pretend like it's nothing. I think there are some people who do that, so do not do that, because nothing gets swept under the carpet, because you make the other person feel that if the other person is not happy, you make the other person feel even more frustrated, because you kind of invalidate what they feel. You kind of make them feel that whatever problems that, it's their fault, because, it doesn't matter anymore. Whatever they're feeling doesn't really matter. So never sweep things under the carpet. Hello, what's Shireen? Hello, Shireen. Hi, welcome to, easy Dharma for difficult times. We're talking about relationships right now. So feel free to ask any questions. Basically, Rinpoche's advice about relationships is quite practical. Mostly it's about resolving the conflict ASAP. Rinpoche said that night, don't sleep over it. Resolve it. Remember, in times of conflict, remember why you married this person, or you went into a relationship with this person. And if it's not an intimate relationship, then remember their good qualities. Don't just focus on their bad qualities. Don't just focus on the bad things you're seeing right now, because times are difficult. And I think it's important. I think that that Mr. Lam was talking about empathize. Empathy is a very important aspect of any form of relationship. Empathy means you put yourself in their shoes. You understand their situation. And most of the time, people don't tell, oh, I have this problem, and that's why I'm angry. Sometimes people have underlying issues, and their family, their own personal family, their own personal issues, their relationship. Usually people's issues are usually relationship, money, things like that. So it revolves around a few things. So if you really care for this person as a friend, as a family member, as a loved one, then it behooves you to find out what is bothering this person. Because don't just take things at face value with people. Sometimes when people have sudden change of emotion, it is usually of something not what they are talking about. Sometimes it's deep within. Sometimes it's a problem they are going through that they're not telling, and it will rely on your kindness and compassion to find out and to help them. Oh, that's a nice comment here. Hi, PDL. Isn't it good to keep quiet and resolve it by tomorrow or another day? That's a very good question. For Rinpoche, what I was telling you is based on what Rinpoche is saying. So what Rinpoche is saying is sometimes depending on the situation, how bad the conflict is. Sometimes it's so bad that we are throwing things at each other, throwing pillows and throwing stuff, and it's become nothing can bring it down. So it's good to, I think, in certain situations where emotions are too high, to resolve it the night itself. It is a good idea. But I think what Rinpoche is trying to say is don't sweep it under the carpet. Because some people tend to do that. They sweep it under the carpet, they don't talk, then tomorrow, they pretend like nothing happened. But the underlying issue, the real issue, is not solved. So when the issue is not solved, although both parties will pretend like everything's back to normal, it will come up again. So, experience. So what happened is, so I think that's what Rinpoche is trying to say by resolving it. It's important to resolve it. It's important to understand the other party. Because and I know there are some people, have difficulty. I've realized this over time. There are people who have difficulty relating to other people. And I think there's a medical dyslexia. Is it? Dyslexia is difficulty in relating to other people, right? No? Okay, maybe not dyslexia, sorry. I don't know what's the term now. But anyway, I know there are people who find it difficult to relate to other people. So you see, oh, no, it's the other one. I keep confusing. No, it's not dyslexia. Sorry, okay, all sorts of comments are coming up. Well, anyway, there are people who have difficulty relating to other people, and whatever the term is doesn't matter. So sometimes we have to understand people in a sense of what they are capable of and what they are not. And so, and because I mean, with loved ones, I think we tend to know more or less how they think and feel. If you're close, if you really, really care for this person, you would tend to understand this person a little bit. Autism, that's right. Thank you, Mr. Hart. Thank you. Autism is the one. I keep thinking dyslexia. I always confuse dyslexia and autism. So sorry, my mistake. Okay, there's many spectrum of it. There's many levels of it. So I'm not an expert in it, but I do notice there is in any place, any environment, even in Kachara, there are people who display certain levels of it, who are unable to relate to. I don't know. Sometimes it's just body language cues. Sometimes it's the emotion. They just don't read it. So please understand this person also. If you're dealing with someone like that, don't misunderstand people. So it's a matter of empathy here. And empathy in Buddhism is very important because that's the foundation of compassion. The foundation of compassion is to understand that all beings were our mothers once. They have cared for us and they have done so much for us in our previous lives. So it behooves us to help them, to be of benefit to them, or at least don't harm them. Even sometimes, and if certain levels of compassion, some of us think that, we pray for compassion, maybe we are there already, but we are not, because there are situations where we're dealing with difficult people, and we cannot stand it, we don't understand, we get angry, we get upset, we're worked up. And when people harm us, when real compassion, real great compassion, and this is real compassion, is when people harm us, instead of retaliating, instead of fighting back, silencing them, teaching them a lesson, we benefit them. Okay, that's real compassion. So immediately I see silence on the screen. I see, okay, that's one thumbs up. So that's our gauge. Is when we are hurt, and who hurts us the most is the people who care for us. Realistically, people the closest to us. Sometimes, in our environment, especially for us in Kachara, some of us perhaps is actually beyond our family. Perhaps is our colleagues, our fellow brothers, Dhamma brothers and sisters. Yeah. So sometimes the closest to us can hurt us the most. And what do we do? Most of the time, immediately you lash out. I'm sorry, I'm guilty. I'm not, this is not scripted, okay? I'm guilty of that. And I try not to. And sometimes what's horrible? Sometimes I want to strike back at this person, but not fast enough. So maybe my lack of intelligence is to my benefit. So I don't. Then later on I calm down. Okay. So I don't lash back. I don't say something negative immediately, retaliate something, say a bitchy line or something. But so when we reach a point, if we want to improve our practice, we have to reach this point. When they hurt us back, we don't retaliate. We try to help them. And in trying to help them, we of course don't just blindly try to help them. First of all, we have to understand what help they need. That's very important. So if we're not there yet, there's some people it's not going to be easy. Many of the people it's not going to be easy. But going back to the topic, right? When we are in a family, a loved one, it's a loved one, it's a family member. So it's your compassion, is your practice of compassion to find out, to get to know them, or rather get to know what is the underlying problems and issues that person is facing, and help them resolve. Because sometimes some personal conflict can be overwhelming. They can't help it, so they lash out. And why is it that we always have to be the one to help our brother, our sister, our cousin, our amma, I don't know, any family member, or a husband or wife, children? Why is it me? Why me? I've already done it so many times. Why me again? Because you want to be a Buddhist. Because you want to take a good rebirth. Because you need Dorje Shukden's help. You want Dorje Shukden to help you. You want your Dharma protector's blessings. You want the Yidam, Lama Tsongkhapa, Manjushri, Vajrayogini to bless you, to gain attainments, realizations, understanding. You want all that, right? So you have to do the work. You have to reflect or help this person, get to know this person. It's your special practice of compassion. That's why. So I assume all of you guys here, my very beautiful audience right now, online audience, want to be a Buddhist, want to be a true Kacharyan. A true Kacharyan, a true Buddhist, then you have to be the first one to understand this person. So, I mean, within the context, you don't have to go around opening a shrink clinic for everybody who bypass your street. No, you don't have to do that. Start with your loved ones, the person you have conflict with in your family, in your relationship with your spouse, with your children, your amma, your appa, whoever it is, your uncle, your auntie, whoever it is that you have conflict with, understand them. That's your practice. So when you do it over time, it becomes natural. Okay, I've done a special formula of how to understand. Talk to them, have small talk, find out from other family members. Sometimes it's not possible to speak to them directly. Sometimes it's easier to find out from other family members who may be close to them. And then when you find out, then sometimes you never know. And the very fact that we don't know what's happening in our family and our loved ones, and we are clueless, shows a lot about ourselves, our awareness or our lack of care. Sorry, our lack of care for our family members. This is your family, This is your loved one. This is people you lived with, you're stuck with for the rest of this COVID-19 lockdown. So, this is perfect time to get to know your family members, whoever you're staying with, and if there's a conflict, there's a problem, and you sense that they have underlying issues, and to help them through it, develop this kindness and compassion. This is your first step to be a bodhisattva. This is your first step to getting infinite blessings from the Buddhas, from Dorje Shukden, protection, blessings. Yeah, it starts from this, and this is how you practice the Dhamma. So I won't go on and on and on anymore. So, there's a question, is it? From Kalista. One more question. What if that person is very sensitive? Should I sweep the feeling under the carpet? Okay, that's why I suggested that there are some people that you cannot approach directly. Perhaps you don't really have a prior close relationship with this family member or this, housemate, whoever it is. If it's a friend that is not that close, then what can be done is through other people who is close to them. You can talk to them, you can find out from them. You never know. That's how I do it. And to find out from other people, sometimes to understand them, you have to find out from different sources, not just from what you see. Sometimes what you see is not what you get. It's not what, okay, that didn't come out right. Sometimes what you perceive of this person may not be what they're feeling inside or the truth. What usually people are like that. People are not, if they're not comfortable with you, they will never show you how they feel inside, and they will not express it, and they will be defensive, and they will put up a front. So if you're going to try to break that front, it's just going to be offensive to this person. So you have to go a roundabout way. So that's the only way. If you really care for this person, if you really have time and opportunity to help this person, and you feel you can, you speak to different people. And actually, we should, if it's someone whom we live with, and if it's our family member, and if it's someone you call a loved one, all the more we should. Because if we are unable to help someone who is a loved one, how are you going to help all sentient beings? How are you going to enact the prayers you do every day? When you want to pray the Dodi Shukden, right? Your prayers are actually for all sentient beings, not just your problems. It's to benefit all sentient beings, to develop the aspiration. So to develop aspiration, let's not talk about becoming a Buddha for everyone. Start with being kind to or rather getting to know this person, this loved one, and helping them, Yeah, so for family, the best is to get them to know Dharma indirectly. Yes, that's very good, Chung. Thank you for your comment. This is from Chung. He says it's the best for is to get them to know Dharma indirectly. I don't know what you mean by indirectly, but I assume that meaning gently inspiring them through your practice. I think that's what you mean. Inspiring them through your practice, inspiring them through your transformation, inspiring them through your consistency in the Dharma. Yeah, then it's excellent. Because I know there are a lot of parents, concerned parents, who want to bring their kids. I mentioned this before and I mentioned it again. Concerned parents who want to bring their kids to the Dharma, especially usually most parents will find it difficult is to bring teenage kids to the Dharma, because that's the time of rebellion and angst and teenage, all these emotions and puberty and girlfriend, boyfriend, and peer pressure, school, exams, and you want to talk about Dharma Samoa. So some parents wish they could force it down the kids, and in some ways they do. That's the worst thing to do. As parents, do not force Dharma down your children's throats. Okay? You do not like your own parents telling you what to do, so you should understand that as a child, you don't want your parents to force them to do things. Don't. Inspire them and gently guide them. Different kids have, of course, there are some kids that are, needs more discipline, and some kids need less discipline. So whatever it is, if you are going to discipline your kids, and you, especially using the Dharma to tell them off, you must walk the talk. Okay, it's the worst thing to do is to discipline your kids and tell them, oh, bad karma, you're going to hell. When you yourself don't practice the Dharma, and your kids can see that. So the hypocrisy is going to kill your kids. It's going to ruin your Dharma for the future. Never do that. You have to practice the Dharma yourself. Then when you practice the Dharma, then you can inspire them even when you're disciplining your kids. Okay? So that's my advice. And not really advice. That's my interpretation of Chung's comment. Okay, there's more. You got to know, Chung says, this is in response to Kalista. You got to know when to hold them, know when to know them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Know when to run. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, no offense to Chung, I do not recommend running, ever. in any situation, in any conflict, I do not recommend running. But maybe in your household is different. I do not recommend running because this is my belief. Any conflict, yes, I think it is okay to, take a break for a while, as in sometimes when the heat of emotions, we are screaming back and forth. We're not really talking with sense. It's just anger lashing out. So sometimes it's good to calm down first and then continue, yes. But I think it's good to come to a consensus. And I know there are some relationships and some people, yes, it works when they don't, when they don't talk about it and then it dies down. So it really depends, It really depends how much you know your partner, because sometimes it helps. For me, it does not, especially if it's it's an important issue. And you must know what the issue is, because sometimes conflicts can be really about something small. Like you burn a rice in a pot and then your spouse is not happy with you, and then there's an argument that erupted from it. Then the issue is actually quite small. So then it became erupted maybe because of the pressures of being at home all day, 24 hours for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, then sometimes maybe not necessary to come to a consensus and we have to sit down and have a meeting and all that. Maybe it's not necessary. But then there are certain situations where there are issues, important issues that there's a conflict. Then I think it's important. It's important to come to a consensus. So either way, I don't think when you don't talk about it and let it die down when it's something small, I don't think that's running away. I just think it's depending on the situation. Really, it depends. Okay, I see things. Oh, Mr. Lam, if we practice showing genuine kindness to all, our relationship with all, regardless of whether they are positive or negative people, our emotional baggage will lessen and our outbursts will lessen. Negative people will be less negative towards us. Showing what? Kindness. Yeah, of course. Kindness. And some people have an issue about that, like totally being overly kind and generous to people. And people have an issue because what we're afraid is some people feel that you can be taken advantage of. So our kindness and compassion have been tempered with skillfulness. We have to be skillful about it. We have to see whether the situation, being kind, sometimes being kind without considering the person and the situation can be not good for the person. Okay, so it really depends. Sometimes it needs to be a confrontation, or rather a resolution, not confrontation. Sorry, wrong word. Resolution. Okay, I've got something. For people in conflict, what if one party doesn't want to settle the conflict and just walk away? Okay, that's a good one. That's a very good one. I think maybe we will have to see. We have to see in a sense that perhaps that moment is not possible. Perhaps another time. Yeah, perhaps another time, because some different people take it differently. So you have to understand the other party. Some people cannot immediately confront because of the emotion of that time, of the moment. And so yeah, maybe if at the moment you can't resolve the thing. So I think it's still okay. Although Rinpoche, in his advice in the marriage advice to this couple, he said that you should resolve it that night. So I think I reinterpret it to mean that to not sweep it under the carpet. Okay, so meaning sometimes at the moment you cannot resolve it, maybe tomorrow. Sometimes it may take 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Yeah, sometimes, because especially if you're close. I mean, I'm framing most of what I'm saying within the context of a close family relationship, because I think most people viewing this are, within the family and within close, or at least housemates that are close. Excuse me. So yeah, sometimes you need a little bit more effort, because sometimes in talking we understand certain underlying issues that is arising underlying. Sometimes immediately, it doesn't come up immediately. So it really depends on you and in finding out and empathizing with this person. And it's good practice for everyone, for you and for me to empathize. So if our this is from Chung, this comment. If our practice transforms us, people's reflexive action towards us will also change. The whole energy of the relationship will change for the better. Oh, definitely. Thank you, Chung. That's precisely what we should achieve. At the moment, I don't think all of us can immediately inspire our loved ones, but over time, usually what inspires people is not just at the moment, oh, you have something smart to say or something kind to do or say at the moment. Usually it takes a period of time, a consistency in our practice and consistency in our conduct on handling conflict, bad situations, difficult situations. Then people can see, and usually what happens is when they see that we have changed and we are kinder, more compassionate, more considerate, more conscientious, they let their guard down a little bit, and that's when you can reach out. Sometimes it takes a bit of effort that way. That's why I say sometimes when we want to resolve a really difficult conflict, may take a while. Perhaps don't give up just because it's 1-2 times. Sometimes it needs a little bit more, depending on the person, whatever it is. Is it the same comment? Yeah, it's the same comment. Because I see I have my phone, and I see your comment, but it's just a small part, and then I see it better on my screen here as well. So anyway, so any more further comments and questions? So generally, my whole point to today's talk is based on Rinpoche's advice for the married couple on relationships, and I think we shouldn't frame it just under intimate relationships. It should be used for all relationships, because all relationships are between people. And yes, it's a loved one is easier to practice kindness and compassion. For some people, it's easier to practice kindness and compassion. And while for some people it's harder, it really depends. It doesn't matter. Whether it's harder, it's easier, we still have to practice. We still have to start our practice of empathy, of compassion and kindness somewhere. So we have to start first with the immediate people around us, right? So when we practice, it becomes natural. Over time, that's why it's called practice. Practice makes perfect. So practice means sometimes we fail, which we have been failing many times over. Although I think many of what I say already, you guys know, it's logical sometimes for most of us. So, but we haven't fully done it, so we have to practice. So when we listen, it reminds us, oh, okay, it's like this. It's like we have to remember the people's good qualities, focus on it, don't dwell on just the negative qualities, things like that. So I've used one method that Rinpoche, I focused on one particular method that Rinpoche advised, and two actually, which is is to resolve conflict the night itself, meaning not to sweep it under the carpet, not to forget it, not to take it like it's not important, okay, and to focus on the good qualities. So I use these two. Rinpoche has many more. With regards to not talking bad about your spouse, and I think that's not important at this point. But in this, let's just frame it within the context, because I'm thinking in terms of in these difficult times when we are stuck indoors, and it's sometimes for some people the boredom, every day we're just watching TV, we're just frustrated of the idiot box, we're just frustrated that Netflix doesn't have enough movies. We're frustrated with YouTube because everybody's on internet now, so everything is slowed down. Sometimes it's just all you see is that thing, the wheel twirling. So there's a general frustration. I'm sure everyone can feel it. And so during this time, the Dharma is very important, as always. Not just this time, but especially in times like these, is when we need to practice. And as a Dharma practitioner, as a Kacharyan, it behooves us to be the first one to practice and to show an example. Even if we cannot totally transform and change our spouse, our loved one, but we can inspire them and we can lessen the conflict. We definitely can. Okay, so whatever it is, all the best to you guys. Anything now? Totally. So it's a response. Okay, so I will leave you. It's 10:07. It's a nice 1 hour, and thank you very much. And I will have to think of the next topic soon. What to talk to you guys. If you have any ideas, please message me. Most of you know me personally on Facebook or whatever. If you don't, you can leave it there and tag me, David Lai, or whatever it is. If you wish to a certain topic for me to present, I'm very much open to ideas, and I love to share from experience with Rinpoche, his teachings, his personal advice, and all that, and from my own Dharma learning. And thank you very much, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry, I still repeated too many times already. Okay, I'll see you again. Good night.